Have you ever been completely certain that you were in the right about something and another person was in the wrong, only to have your certainty destroyed when you actually talk to that person? I can assure you that in 56 years of marriage, that has happened to me on more than one occasion. In the book of Job, we've been sitting beside 5 men as they argue and debate about why Job is suffering and what he should do. Job's friends are absolutely certain that Job has sinned. After all, God only brings calamity in those who have committed grave injustices. Job, on the other hand, is certain that his suffering should not be happening, and he has demanded repeatedly that God allow him an audience so that he can present his case. Job is sure that if God heard him out, the suffering would cease. Elihu, tired of the meaningless conversation that is going nowhere, gives his 2 cents about God's lofty nature and the lack of impact that human activity has on him. He thinks of God as a cosmic judge who does not seek a relationship with us so much as he seeks to punish us when we go wrong to get us back on track. None of these men seem to have the full answer, and some of them seem to be very far from the right answer. But when we want to know the truth just as much as they do, and we want God's answer just as much as Job does, in today's lessons, God does show up. The men experience a great whirlwind, and God's voice booms out of its midst. However, what God says is very different than any of them had expected. God apparently has been listening the whole time, and he is aware of everything the men have said to this point in the story. God finds none of it helpful, declaring the men darken counsel by words without knowledge. As God begins a series of questions about how the world works, we see, along with the 5 men, that the world is a much bigger place than we give it credit for. It takes an unbelievable amount of wisdom to rule over the cosmos in all of its complexity, and God has purposes for his world that we cannot possibly comprehend. God's contribution to the discussion will make Job feel very small, not because Job has sinned, but because he has assumed he knows a lot more than he really does. I'll hand the lesson off to your leaders now so you can work through God's response.